investments in our country. It's worthwhile to note that our president himself really invited the government of Brunei to consider investing in the Philippines as Brunei companies would like to expand yung kanilang mga operation, and also explored if they want to grow, they can consider fast-growing economies like Philippines. Dahil in our case, we have several manufacturing activities that Brunei can take advantage of with respect to agribusiness, investing in tourism resorts, especially when you talk of tourism and i-combine natin yung halal, being halal certified tourism areas. That's one area na napakalaki rin ng potential if you talk of the tourists who are looking for halal certified tourists. Minsan hindi lang sila pumupunta dahil hindi halal certified yung tourist areas na yon. So that's one area. Of course, the strength of Brunei when it comes to energy, power, industries. So those are areas that they can also consider bringing in our country in partnership with local entrepreneurs, businessmen. We have also talked about strengthening and reviving the BIMP Iaga. So, yun yung talagang low-hanging fruit siya kasi nangyayari na yan even before. Pero hindi masyadong nabigyan ng push ng mga nakaraang taon. But definitely, that's one area na immense trade can take place because of the proximity ng ating mga lugar na nasa baba ng Pilipinas at napakalapit of course, sa Brunei, sa Indonesia, sa Malaysia. And of course, as noted by our expert also from BIMP Iaga, these are areas in these countries na malayo sa central government. And therefore, talagang there is really there is some sense in really strengthening among themselves these areas. Kasi malapit na magkakalapit sila na madali talagang mag-trade, movement of people and goods and services. So nandiyan na tayo, and yun ay i-revive at siguro papa-explain na rin natin kay Secretary Jess later.
Maraming salamat, Secretary Mon Lopez. At para po sa mga kaka-tune in lang, meron po tayong live broadcast sa Facebook at sa PTV. Ay nandito po tayo ngayon sa Istana Edinburgh sa Brunei Darussalam. Ito po yung palasyo ng hari. At dito niya po dinadala ang kanyang mga bisita. And we are now situated inside the sitting lounge of the palace. At kasama po natin si Secretary Junyasay ng DFA. Kasama din po natin si Senador Alan Peter Cayetano at si OPAP Secretary Jess Dureza. Nabanggit niyo po kanina, Secretary Mon, yung halal products, nabanggit din po yung tourism, business service, oil and gas, agribusiness, pharma. Binabanggit din po yun ni Sultan Bolkiah, at yung energy, oil and gas sector, and yung BIMP Iaga, yung connectivity through air and sea linkages. And also, the Sultan recognizes the importance of the peace process and the ceasefire that we have between the CPP, NPA, NDF, and the Philippine government. Para pag-usapan po yan, and to also expound on the BIMP Iaga, kasama po natin si Secretary Jess Dureza. Magandang hapon po, sir.
Hi, good afternoon. Magandang hapon po sa lahat. Isa sa mga na-mention prominently by both heads of state, ang ating Pangulo at His Majesty Sultan Bolkiah, yung big contribution that Brunei Darussalam has been giving to our peace process. At ito yung kanilang pagpadala of their military elements in the international monitoring team na nakakatulong to maintain the ceasefire in our Bangsamoro peace process. In fact, His Majesty even remembered that it was first mounted in 2004. So mahigit 10 taon na involved ang Brunei Darussalam in seeing to it that napakahalaga kasi yung ceasefire dahil habang tinatapos natin yung negotiations before, now we are in the implementation stage of these agreements. Napakahalaga that we maintain peace, relative peace, the peace equilibrium in the area. At we have foreign monitors, isa doon ho ang Brunei Darussalam. So it's one main issue there. But I was surprised because His Majesty mentioned also that he took notice that there is also a ceasefire agreement with the CPP and PNDF. Ibig sabihin, nakikita niya na may all sectors of our problems in Mindanao ina-address din ng ating Pangulo. The other matter, and I will amplify more on the Bimpiaga, dahil our President really emphasized na yung globalization kasi para lang yun sa mga malalaking mayayaman ng mga countries. Pero tayo, neighbors tayo, sabi niya, we can trade already and we can maximize our being neighbors. As you know, ang Bimpiaga kasi was started during the time of former President Ramos. The idea really was magkalapit kasi ang mga areas in the Bimpiaga. Remember, sa Bimpiaga natin, Mindanao at Palawan lang ang nakapasok diyan. Sa Indonesia, Manado, then the Sulawesi, yung nasa baba din. Malaysia, Kota Kinabalu, Kudat. If you look at the regional, sub-regional composition of Bimpiaga, ito yung mga centers of population na malayo sa kanilang respective capitals. For example, Davao is nearer to Manado than Davao to Manila. Ganon din doon sa ibang countries. So, because when governments came, we used to trade historically amongst ourselves doon sa mga areas na yan. Nagko-cross borders. Wala pa yung mga gobyerno noon. Wala pang gobyerno. Wala pang Philippine government. Wala pa yung mga colonizers. We have already been trading with each other. But when governments came, governments imposed their immigration rules, taxation rules. All of these rules had therefore parang isolated again and delimited the movement of people, goods, and services. The idea of Bimpiaga is really to open up again, make it borderless as much as we can. So marami ng mga mechanism dyan, but at sabi nga, unfortunately, mukhang nag-slow down kunti yung effort na yan. And President Duterte has emphasized this, that he'd like to revive this strongly again. Kasi sabi niya, tayong neighbors, meron tayong problema sa crime, meron drugs tayo, maybe we can also cooperate there, but then mostly in order to revive our respective economies and fuel our respective economies, buhayin natin uli ang Bimpiaga. So maraming mga detalye pang pag-usapan later on. And the two heads of state decided at the end, kasi maraming pang pag-usapan na detalye, said we will direct our respective heads of agencies to follow through in these particular meetings.
I'll add. Hello. So I will add lang na actually, natasan niya, meron tayong Joint Commission on Bilateral Cooperation that will pursue yung detalye ng mga usapan when it comes to trade, ano pa yung mga pwedeng i-export ng Pilipinas sa Brunei, processed food, fresh fruits, fashion accessories, furniture, lahat po yun ay mga isasama natin kung ano pa ang pwede natin ibigyan na push sa exports. And actually, yung kinikwento nga ni Sec Jess is talaga may natural flow of goods within these countries, yung malalapit na areas, such that it makes sense really to parang promote trade from within this region. No? Parang may natural globalization happening within these areas kasi by proximity, kahit iba-ibang bansa sa ngayon, but historically, we've been trading around this region. So, yes, it's high time to go back and revive itong trading na to.
Thank you, Secmon. Ito na po yung ika-4 na bansa na binisita ni Pangulong Duterte. Una yung Laos, pangalawa Jakarta, at pangatlo yung Vietnam. And kanina, Senator Alan Cayetano, sir, ay in-emphasize ni Sultan yung drug problem and how he recognizes the drug problem at transnational crime. No? Pwede mo bang ipaliwanag ba sa amin kung ano yung observation?
Well, first of all, una sa lahat, salamat sa Panginoon, sa ating Pangulo, sa inyo sa media, at of course the secretaries that nag-create ng momentum ang pag-ikot ng Pangulo at sweeping the regions now is a new kind of DDS, Diplomacy Duterte style. Yes, sometimes there are controversial remarks, but the one-on-one and the bilaterals are producing results. Inisa-isa na ng ating mga kasama. And remember, we live in a world not only of a democratic momentum, but also of competition. So in the next 2 trips, the China and the Japan, you would see na nagka-come na full circle from controversies wherein biglang napansin ang Pilipinas until the mending of ways, the continuous generation of news have actually created a kind of excitement and expectancy. So yung sinabi ni Sec Martin, yes, nagiging parating kasama yung corruption, drugs, piracy, and crime. Nagiging standard dahil dun siya kilala. But how, yung tigas ng salita niya, or yung tigas ng stand niya sa drugs, ganun naman ang lambing ng Pangulo pagdating sa OFWs, in thanking the host for taking care of the OFWs. Ganun din yung kanyang panunuyo in investing in the Philippines and how we can invest in their country. So we do not want to preempt the secretaries and of course the President in the agreements to come. But let me say this, no? Kasi pag walang competition, people and the countries, their businessmen, take their time before they invested, di ba? So makikita mo yung mga na-delay na PPPs from 2014 to 2016, maganda yung preparasyon ng last administration. Marami sa mga hinanda nila, maganda yung advertising, maganda yung marketing, pero walang una na gustong pumasok. Di ba? Etong pag-discuss sa halal, we've known for so long that ganong kalaki yung investments, pero walang gustong mauna. But now that the President is saying it's not only safe in the Philippines, not only will we take out red tape and criminality, no, but we're ready to do business, medyo nagkakaroon din ng unahan ng ibang country, no? So yung diplomacy Duterte style, yung DDS na yan, no, I think will greatly benefit our country. Yung sa terrorism kasi, you know, just like diplomacy, that doesn't start and end overnight, di ba? Alam namin na may criticisms, nakikinig ang Pangulo, if he thinks it's correct, he adjusts, kung tingin niyang mali, he goes harder, di ba? Ang diplomacy, it takes time, it's a process. Pero yung pagiging extremist at yung pagiging radical, and it's not only about ideology, not only about religion, but in anything, takes time. So, quietly, the President, and now it can be more open, inuna din niya yung mga bansa na maraming Muslim to help us to stop extremism in our country and also to tell them that we will share whatever we can, including infrastructure, including jobs, including intelligence, to stop the extremism that is happening in the Middle East to go to our region of the country. So yan ang isang priority because pag nangyari yan, talo tayong lahat.
We open the floor for questions.
Sir, kahit sino po sa mga cabinet, sir. Yung ambition natin, 2040, sir. I think it's a project of the Department of Finance or Honeta, sir. I'm just wondering, sir, how is the government, how is the Duterte administration, sir, planning to make sure na it is implemented, considering na 6 years lang naman, sabi naman ni President Duterte, after 6 years he steps down, sir. It's a 25-year plan, sir.
Oo. Kung maalala nyo yung presentation na yun, Ambition 2040, talks about ano ba yung hinahanap ng mga Pilipino, mga kababayan natin, na the quality of life that they want. Diba? At yun ay, I think, inumpisahan ngayon, kahit 6 years lang, but I think it's a matter of taking the right steps, no? Starting with the right steps. And that is about like empowering the bottom of the pyramid, di ba? Pasaganahin ang ekonomiya, mabigyan ng trabaho at income, pagkakakitaan ng ating mga kababayan, trabaho, kung hindi, negosyo, para umayos at gumanda ang kanilang ang kalidad ng buhay nila or ang pamumuhay. Sabi nga doon na meron pang pinalabas silang mga survey, ginawang survey, that shows na ang gusto ng Pilipino ay tahimik, may kabuhayan, at mga iba pang characteristic or quality ng pamumuhay. And itong ginagawa naman natin sa ngayon ay talagang bringing back mga attracting investments, kabuhayan, peace, security. Lahat ito ay ginagawa at inumpisahan na nga ng ating administrasyon na Pangulong Duterte. So, palagay ko, it's a step at the right direction na inumpisahan ng pagandahin ng quality of life. For instance, nakikita na natin ngayon yung malaking pagbaba ng krimen. And that's the quality of life na hindi matagal na nating naranasan, matagal na parang punta ka, maglakad ka sa kalye, na safe ka, sakay ka sa jeep, hindi ka nanganganib masyado na ma-hold up ka, naglalabas ka na ng cellphone ngayon, dati nakatago ang cellphone mo. Yung mga quality of life na yun, hindi lamang sa income At of course, yung creating opportunities sa maliliit na negosyante. Meron pa nga kaming i-workout ngayon na hindi muna namin i-announce, but i-workout natin isang paraan para talagang mapalakas pa ang pagnenegosyo pagdating sa pagbibigay ng palakasin pa ang micro-lending. Things like this, training and seminars na gagawin natin para matulungan talaga yung mga mahihirap natin kasama.
Pero, sir.
Tapos, yun, napaalala sa akin. Part of iniimbita rin ni President nga yung to invest in the Philippines. Ginaranti na naman uli niya, sabi niya, ang mga investments niyo will be protected, we will honor contracts. In fact, we will open up, of course, sinabi rin niyang malinaw na we cannot sell the land dahil bawal sa Constitution, subalit we are inviting long-term leases. No? Kung ano yung sinasasaad sa batas, para matagalan talaga ang tingin when you invest in the Philippines for the long term. Ang nakikita po natin is really a kind of friendship that the President is trying to revive. Friendship, especially within the ASEAN community, with our ASEAN neighbors, ASEAN brothers and sisters. This friendship is the one that is leading to opening up more opportunities in many areas. No? Intelligence, trade cooperation, investment cooperation, and many things that will help dun sa Ambition 2040.
Yes, sir. Pero how will you maintain sustain the momentum after 6 years? Alam naman natin political climate sa Pilipinas, po ba? Baka
merong sagot muna si Senator Cayetano dun sa unang tanong.
Siguro yun din ang unang tinanong kay Chairman Deng Xiaoping when he opened up China, no? But China is now on their 13th five-year plan, no? And what were the two elements of the success ng China, among others, no? But in the continuity. Number one, they had 5-year plans that they stuck to, and every time the next 5-year plan came in, there was continuity sa magandang plano, and then dun sa may mali, they will tweak it. So if you see the 10-year program na Secretary Sani Dominguez presented, most of it is a continuity of the Aquino administration sa fundamentals ng economics. Tweak niya lang, may mga binago para maging mas inclusive, para mas marami ang makinabang, no? So if the Duterte administration can only talk about its 6 years, but it can lay the foundation for the next 6 years and the next 6 years. So whether it's a 6-year plan or a 5-year plan, no, the thing is to lay the foundation. And the Aquino administration had the 4 Ps that's being continued now. So last night, I think 30 minutes to 1 hour on one topic, yung microfinance, micro, small, medium enterprise, or yung anti-5-6. That's an example. If the 2017 budget and the programs of the Bangko Sentral, DTI, DOST, the Cooperative Development Authority, and the DILG, if they can work together, habang may gulo, baliwala yung plano mo eh. So unless the rebellion in the South and the rebellion with our brothers in the left is solved. So that's why the President is trying to lay this groundwork. So dun sa naghahanap kay Presidente ng, Sir, where's your grand plans? Where is grand palaces like this, which by the way were also made by Filipinos, started with the foundation. No? And that's what the President is focusing on. Secretary Yasay reminded me, with 3 million into drugs, 3 to 4 million into drugs, and the President came up with a simple computation. No? Pagtatanong namin sa PDEA, 200 pesos isang hit para sa mga addict. Every day, 200 pesos, 6,000 a month. Kung 3 million sila, that's 18 billion a month. 216 billion drugs. Minimum yon. Hindi pa kasama doon yung gastos mo sa health, gastos mo sa law enforcement, yung opportunity cost if they became productive citizens, yung taxes, etc. No? So this is part of the foundation. So if you're gonna ask me, Cedric, sigurado ba ang 2040 ambisyon? Para natin tinanong yung but we're working on the foundations to make sure whoever takes over after President Duterte in 2022 will just have to continue and build upon it.
Doris?
Yes, sir. I have a question for Secretary Yasay and Second. But Secretary Yasay, a day before the China state visit, you are confirming that the South China Sea issue will not be discussed, and that you said earlier we will find another opportunity for this to be discussed. So final na, it's no longer on. It will never be on the table on this visit.
The South China Sea issue will not be discussed in terms of pursuing specifically our bilateral engagements in resolving that issue. But certainly in the bilaterals that may come about between the President and President Xi Jinping, they might pass upon or talk about the general principles and framework under which to proceed in their engagements for bilateral talks in the future. So to that extent, they might be able to talk generally, right? But I think the President has made it clear that maybe this is not the time to talk about resolving the South China Sea dispute in a manner that we are still continuing to build on trust and confidence, mutual trust and confidence between the two countries. We also would like to make sure that yung ating other aspects of the relationship must be pursued because these are part of the trust-building measures. Alam naman natin na yung relasyon ng China at saka Pilipinas ay hindi lamang concentrated, or it's not the sum total. The South China Sea issue is not the sum total of the relationship between China and the Philippines. There are other aspects of that relationship that we must pursue so that, incidentally, the trust-building measures can also be further strengthened and open up the possibility of, in fact, discussing substantively the issue with the view of peacefully resolving it.
Certainly, we are not. Certainly, we are not afraid, or we're avoiding ruffling their feathers, because just today it was announced that Bangladesh got the biggest loan from China, $220 billion. Cambodia got $100 million worth of loan. So are we, in not discussing it now, are we cozying up to China so that we can get also these kinds of loans?
No, I don't think we should look at it on that basis. We are never certainly afraid to negotiate with China when the opportunity to negotiate is there. We are also not afraid to tell China that we are in no position to derogate our rights under international law and under the 1982 UNCLOS. I mean, we say this very openly, and China recognizes this. But what we're only saying is that right now, it is not the time to discuss substantively resolving this issue. We still have to build on the lost trust and confidence that was weakened or eroded during the past administration. But then, we should not also miss out on the opportunities for trade and economic relationship that we would need as much as China would need it. We should not also miss out on various opportunities with respect to, let's say, assistance and loans that may be provided. But we should be able to pursue these things for the mutual benefit of the two countries without eroding our respective claims over the South China Sea.
Not really related to what the beautiful Doris had asked. Oh, not beautiful? You're shaking your head. Okay. No. No, I'd like to mention kasi, you know the crowd last night, the Filipino crowd. You know that many of them came even as early as lunchtime to be seated and to wait for the president. And they waited for 5 hours. And ang schedule is gabi eh. And I learned from some sources and some Filipinos I talked to that talagang dumating sila. Some came from all over to be seated and to be arranged. They even submitted pictures and everything just to be properly seated. And I think you were there. You heard how they chanted from the very beginning up to the end of the speech of the president. And you could notice that he was talking from his heart, no? Speaking from his heart out. So, yun ang isa sa mga dapat siguro natin ding tingnan on how our Filipinos here who are now well employed are looking towards a better Philippines when they return back to their families. Yun kasi yung inaasam-asam nila. They're okay here eh. Sabi doon ng isa dito, nagtatrabaho dito. Sabi niya, okay na kami dito sir, peaceful kami. Pero ang worry namin, yung pamilya namin na babalikan doon. May mga anak kami doon na iwanan eh. Kaya parang they're well at ease already with the thought that yung basic issues of criminality, drugs are being addressed.
Last na lang kay Sec. Lopez.
Siguro noteworthy din, Doris, no, na sa lahat ng napuntahan po ng ating Pangulo na bansa dito sa Southeast Asia, kasama yung Laos, Vietnam, Jakarta, at ngayon, Brunei, sinusuportahan ang programa ng ating Pangulo pagdating sa laban sa illegal na droga.
Some light moments during the bilaterals. Sinabi pa ng Presidente, pwede akong gusto nyo hiramin ako dito sa Brunei, Darussalam, on the issue of drugs. Pwede. No, some of these light moments between the two heads of state took place also.
Sige,
Quickly lang.
edit mo na tapos
Quickly
ikaw.
lang.
Kasi yung Philippine Star magtatampo na. Ayun, nagtampon.
Yes.
Wow, delikado yun.
Sec. Lopez, did we clinch any loan or any assistance from Brunei in this visit?
Wala. It's
Wala.
really a
No pledge
show,
at all?
mga show of support muna for advancing technical cooperation, economic trade. I think malaking bagay na yan eh. Kasi as to the trade and all that, we are part already of the ASEAN, may free trade area, ano na tayo, no? Mga agreement. It's really palakasin yung investments eh. investments from one country to the other. At nabanggit natin yung mga areas na saan pwedeng lumakas yung investments. At may complementation. Yung strength nila at yung strength natin pagsamahin. IT, BPM, agribusiness, ang daming mga pwedeng paggamitan pa, manufacturing activities.
Dagdag ko lang, no? Kasi tatanong ka about whether meron bang pag-usapan na pera. You know, the president is the so-called new kid in the block. Eh. At makikita mo sa sinasabi niya at yung attention binibigay sa kanya ng sultan, parang nakikiramdam ang sultan at kinikilala siya as a person. And the president did not even hesitate to disclose. Sabi niya, you know, I sometimes speak this way, but you know, I have gotten the attention of everybody. Sabi niya. So that's something that I had intentionally done. Because I'd like, now everybody is taking attention to this new kid in the block. That means he cannot pursue yung ano yung dapat gawin para sa bansa. Na dati parang ini-small lang tayo o ini-ignore lang tayo.
Edit
Yes, sir.
ng Star.
Secretary Lopez and Secretary Jess Dureza, you mentioned about BIMP Yaga. In fact, BIMP Yaga was established in 1994 with President Ramos then and Malaysian Prime Minister. Now the point is this. Through all these years, for how many years already? That's 26? Or no, the point is simple. It really was not able to take off simply because there are realities on the ground. Now, you're talking about reviving it. Where do you think, or what sector do you think you should concentrate for you to be successful in reviving it? Because, you see, we're talking about the same cooperations. We're talking about this education and everything, technical, environment, tourism, trade and industry, even cross-border movement. Now, the point is this. In which area do you think you can revive it and be successful in it? Because there was also a time before when IAGA started that Indonesia had Borak Airlines and the cross-border flights and everything, but they could not sustain it. You're talking about traffic between these borders. So how do you think can you make it successful this time? And the second question is, you talked earlier about the fight against illegal drugs. And now you have a course and all that. These areas are, you know, just each other's backwaters of each other's economies. But the point is, are you going to another illegal drug trade reach to that area na? The cooperation should not just be economics. It's a geo-economic grouping. But should it be more than that? And should it be just that? So the question, back lang ako sa question, where do you think you would revive it?
Siguro yung revival immediately, transportation. Pag na-address mo yung transport, for example, reviving RoRo, may mga projects and plans na pinupush ngayon yan. That will increase yung movement of people, airports, mga flights from those areas, from our country, those ports like Manado, Davao, and all that. And yun nga, yung movement ng mga transportation facilities. That will improve the movement of goods and services and increase that economic activities. And with that, you're encouraging also yung ma-revive din yung mga economies in those areas. So, yung talks about the illegal drugs, of course, nandyan yung policing pa rin yung illegal drugs. In fact, nabanggit nga kanina yung cooperation in exchanges of information that will prevent yung mga illegal drug trade, no? So hindi ibig sabihin na palakasin mo yung flow of goods and services in these areas, lalakas din yung illegal drugs. Nandun pa rin yung kasabay na
specifically on how to revive Bimpiaga. Immediately now, by April, we have targeted, there's going to be a RoRo that will be mounted from Jensan, Davao Jensan, and to Lahad Datu, and to Indonesia, sa kabila. that is already now about to be launched. Nag-aantay lang na ayusin yung mga rules dun sa kabila. Their port arrangements can be done. There is also not spoken publicly because there is a political sensitivity to this. The constraint about the facilitation center, di ba, agreement between countries. Meron kasing kunting issue diyan na may political sensitivity between Malaysia and the Philippines. Ngayon, meron na tayong nakitang opening on how to address it. Hindi kasi makakabuelo at ma-establish yung facilitation center political considerations. Now we have a way forward on how to facilitation center.
Where do you consider it to be established? Saan?
No,
Still
yung document,
totally
yung agreements kasi hindi mapirmahan dahil may sensitivity pa. And we know how to address it already, coming from there before. We have to, therefore, as stated by Secretary Mon, provide the connectivity dahil puro laway lang yan eh. When you want to promote tourism, walang sasakyan eh. Paano ka makapag-move ng people? You know very well that there are already cross-border arrangements before. Now, I take note of your point about transnational crimes ngayon and the drugs.
Yeah.
The president across the table today mentioned for a long period how he arranged with President Widodo, and he invited the Sultan also to come up with the same arrangement. He said that for example, pursuit of criminals within the common borders, dahil may mga territorial limits tayo, yung hot pursuit against drugs or against kidnappers is always delimited by our jurisdiction. You cannot cross a border of another country. He said, I have already agreed with President Widodo that they can come into our territory in hot pursuit, provided we are just merely informed. And he invited also the Sultan that the same kind of arrangement we can pursue, and this will be given to our respective officials.
I'm just curious, if you talk about reviving IAGA, does it also follow that you are going to gather in one meeting and one conference the heads of state of these 4 component countries, the Philippines, Indonesia, and Brunei? Would there be a...
There will be an ASEAN, we will be the chair of the ASEAN in 2017, next year. And one of the key organizations where the heads of states will meet will be the 4 heads of the BIMPIAGA: Brunei, Darussalam, Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines. And we got a very strong support statement from the Sultan himself today.
But there are realities on the ground.
Yes, there are realities, but then we cannot stop doing and aspiring to improve if we see some hurdles. Maybe with the new president now who's willing to go all the way, we see that we can probably hurdle some of these problems and challenges.
Sandali lang, sir. In terms of concrete, walang amount, walang trade, because you talk about you had bilateral talks earlier.
Yeah.
Were there agreements? Do you have concrete numbers?
Oo.
So walang perang pinag-usapan?
Wala pa. Pero kasi it was tasked to the Joint Commission on Bilateral Cooperation to work on the details, the industries to talk about, and yung siguro yung the money part will come in later.
Yes, the Sultan closed his statement by saying that both countries should meet as soon as possible to tackle the investments and all. Anyway, it's already 5:34 in the afternoon, and I would like to congratulate all of our kababayans here sa Istana Edinburgh for giving us excellent service, at napakadami pong mga Pilipino talaga dito. 5% of the population, Filipinos, out of 400,000. And now I'd like to pass the microphone to Senator Alan Peter Cayetano to close the session.
Although na-mention mo na rin, kasi may mga nagtatanong sa mga nanonood live, ano yung acronym na yon, no? Basically, as you said, in 1994 and even before that, marami nagtatanong parang why reach for the moon when the roses are just beneath your feet, di ba? Ibig sabihin, nandyan ang neighbors natin eh. Di ba? Brunei, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines. And nung Secretary of Tourism, si Secretary Ace Durano, sabi niya, why are we always going after Westerners? Na although may logic kasi malaki gumastos sa shopping, mahilig sila sa magbakasyon, pero because of certain conditions at that time, for example, Russians, walang direct flight nun sa Pilipinas, so dadaan ka mo ng Thailand. So why will they get on a second plane coming here? Mga taga-US, while they visit Asia, they also visit Europe. So naging strategy ni Secretary Ace Durano noon is to go to the Chinese market. Pagdating ni Senator Dick Gordon, ng secretary, di ba, yung Wow Philippines, inaddress niya yung the rest of Asia. So ang point lang naman ng Pangulo is tatlo. Number one, and I'll give you a concrete example, ang turista ng Thailand na Chinese is almost 10 million. Ang turista natin ng Chinese is about 500,000. And every Chinese tourist spends an average of $1,000 on shopping alone. No? So, ang strategy ng Pangulo, bago tayo tumingin sa napakalayo, tignan muna natin sarili, which isn't a new strategy. The US looked at Mexico and Canada with several issues. And until now, yung issues nila with Mexico sa immigration, because they have to take care of home first, di ba? Ang European countries, kaya nga may NATO, kaya nagkaroon ng EU, bago tayo pumunta sa malayo, dito muna. So yun po ang sinastrategize ng Pangulo. Bakit may mga bansa, katulad ng Japan at China, na pagdating natin doon at pag-uwi, may pirmahan na at may uwi tayong pera? Bakit may mga bansa like Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos dito na wala pa? Well, first, there are lender countries na may mga institutions sila like Japan, may ODA, di ba? Secondly, yung mga bansa na yon talagang sanay na mag-invest sa labas. Like halimbawa, Singapore ngayon, isang active nila ginagawa, makipag-partner for infra projects. But ang sabi nga ng Pangulo, may mga katabi tayong bansa, katulad ng Brunei na maraming pera, pero konti pa ang investment sa atin at konti investment sa kanila. So just because we're coming home na wala pang nakapirma doesn't mean na successful yung sa China dahil may pirmahan, successful Japan, but ino-open ang doors ng Pangulo. So on that point lang, we'd like to thank all of you for extensively covering all of his foreign visits. We want to thank even the critics at home who follow the international protocol na pag nasa ibang bansa ang Pangulo, suporta muna tayo at wag muna tayo mag-criticize kasi it's not about Duterte, it's about all the Filipinos. And lastly, sa OFWs, let me emphasize lang yung sinabi ni Secretary Duresa. Pumunta daw dito si President Arroyo, President Aquino, President Estrada. Hindi ganun kahigpit yung security, you can just come in. But so far, pinakamarami pumunta despite 5 hours before isasara ang pinto and then kailangan ng ID at saka ng picture. Hindi tayo nag-impose nun kung hindi yung gobyerno dito. Pero sabik talaga ang tao. Makita siya, masuportahan siya. But more importantly for me, sabik ang Pangulo, makita sila. That's why you've seen in all his visits, the first stop is the Filipino community. So again, thank you very much, Sec Martin, at sa inyong lahat.
Sir, if you still have Sir, bago lang, sir. May part 2 po kasi yung article ni President Ramos. Has anyone of you read it, sir? And would you like to comment on it, sir?
I have not read it, so sorry.
I heard it's going to be 3 parts. I heard it's going to be many parts, but the point is, kuya siya. He's the elder statesman. He said, treat me as an older brother. I'm in Team Philippines. I'm Team Duterte. So we value his advice. He's helping us navigate the relations with other countries. The West and the East will be invaluable, no? And we thank him for that.
Thank you. Thank you, Rocky.
Para